Hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to the solution for example number 1 to topic 5. You've reached this video either because it was linked for you in the description to the lecture for topic 5, or it was linked for you in the course notes for topic 5. Without further ado, let's get to this. But first, I want to remind you what we're doing. We're looking to learn how to use all of the articles under subsection 3.2.2 to assign a level of safety to the structure of a building. Okay? And the whole point is that we're going to look at all the limitations in these 63 articles so that we can assign a safety measure to the structure. And the way we're going to do that is by going backwards. Okay? So I'm going to demonstrate to you exactly how we're going to do that by doing this example. Example number 1. You're given a building, looks quite pretty. You're being asked first to classify this building and then to determine the requirements for combustibility of material. So that means combustible or non-combustible. And then to determine the fire resistance rating of a typical floor structure and a typical roof structure for this building. This building, you're being told, is unsprinklered, 8 stories high. It's an office building. As you can see from the image, it faces 2 streets and it has a building area of 2,400 square meters. So maybe let me rearrange the important information on screen for you so that we can set out what we're going to do. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to list those 5 building characteristics and pluck out from this example's description the important information. First, we're told that it's an office building. We learned from topic 2 that means it's a D occupancy, right? Don't forget, Appendix A is your friend. All right, the next building characteristic is building area, 2,400 meters squared. We covered this in topic 3. Now, building height. Building height, 8 stories. We covered this too in topic 3. How many streets is this building facing? Well, we see it here, it's 2 streets. Lastly, is this building sprinklered or unsprinklered? That is, are there sprinklers or not? In this case, we're being told this building is unsprinklered. No sprinklers in the building. Great. So now let's move on to the next step. We have to pull out the building code and look through all 63 of those articles. Now, fortunately, I'm going to tell you how to do that because 63 articles, now that you found them, that's a lot. Starting with Article 3.2.220 all the way to Article 3.2.283. And you know what helps with that? It's the occupancy of the building. In this case, we know that the occupancy is a D occupancy. So if you use your table of contents or you start flipping through these 63 articles, you'll find that the articles relating to D occupancies are only a small portion of these 63 articles, specifically from Article 3.2.249 all the way to Article 3.2.256. But which one of these articles do we use, right? That's still 7 articles we have to look through. And that's where going backwards comes into play. We always start with the least restrictive. Okay? Or I should say the most restrictive. You always start from the last one, that is 3.2.256, and work backwards. So here's how we're going to do it, okay? I'm going to summarize in the top of the screen, top right corner, the important information, right? The 5 building characteristics we're going to use. We used the occupancy to figure out which subsection of those 63 articles we need. So we're going to go backwards, starting with Article 3.2.256. That article, if you read it, refers to a building that has a maximum of 2 stories and is sprinklered. You're going to read this article, but just by reading the title, does it apply to our building? It does not. Why is that? Regardless of the number of stories, this article refers to a building that is sprinklered, that is, that it has sprinklers. Our building, as you can see in the top right corner of the screen, is not sprinklered. It is unsprinklered. So this does not apply to it. Okay, so then we move backwards to Article 3.2.255, which says maximum 2 stories. Is this okay? Well, does it? No. And why is that? Because our building has 8 stories. So this one is applicable only to buildings up to 2 stories. So no good. We move on to the next article backwards. We're now on Article 3.2.254, which is titled Maximum 3 Stories and Sprinklered. Does this apply? No, for 2 reasons. This is for sprinklered buildings and our building is not, and it's for a maximum of a 3-story building and our building is 8 stories. No good. Let's move on. The next article backwards is 3.2.253, maximum 3 stories. Does that apply? No, our building is 8 stories. Backwards, Article 3.2.252, maximum 4 stories and sprinklers. Does that apply? No, right? Because our building is 8 stories and unsprinklered. Next, backwards. Ooh, this is looking a bit better. We're moving up. 3.2.251, maximum 6 stories, sprinklered and non-combustible. Does this work? No. Our building, 8 stories, unsprinklered. Next. Moving backwards, we are at 3.2.250A, maximum 6 stories, sprinklered and combustible. Does this work? No, because it's not 8 stories and it's not unsprinkled. Next. Article 3.2.250, maximum 6 stories. Does this work? It does not, right? Because this article is for buildings up to 6 stories, and we have 8. No good. Next. Article 3.2.249, which is any height and any area. Does that work? Well, yes, it does. And what you would do is you would read the whole thing in that article to find out the details. Okay? All right. So as soon as we find an article that works, we don't go backwards anymore. We don't. Okay? Because we found the one that is applicable. And in this case, it happened to be the least restrictive at all. Okay? So now we're going to answer this question. And we're going to do that. We're going to answer example 1 by, and I'm not trying to be a smarty pants here, we're actually going to answer what was asked. So do you remember what was asked? We were asked to classify the building, and we did that, right? We found that it was a D occupancy. And then we had to figure out the levels of safety that we're going to apply to it. So here's how you answer this question. This building shall conform to sentence 3.2.249(2). And that means that the building shall be of non-combustible construction. Okay? Under 3.2.249(2). You are reading the whole thing under Article 3.2.249. You have to read the whole thing. Okay? And next, we have to figure out the fire resistance rating for floor and roof assembly. So for floor, we find that the fire resistance rating is 2 hours, according to clause 3.2.249(2)(b). And for roof assemblies, it's 1 hour, according to clause 3.2.249(2)(d). Okay? A reminder again, now that you've done example number 1, you're able to practice this even more by doing homework set number 2, question number 1. Because this course is all about practice, practice, practice. Which then I'd like to reinforce for you. Practice, practice, practice is the name of the game. This topic is so new that we need to get comfortable with all possibilities for it, okay? So don't be weirded out if you have to do more practice to get it. That's completely okay. Which means that's it. That's it for example number 1. I want to thank you so much for your time. Take care. Have a lovely day.